fine. Brad, you and I often talk privately and publicly about the issues we have in the morning. I'm
I
talking about
never realized.
the technology issues. And I think the way we'd summarize this is like 2 to 3 of the 5 days of the week, there's something wrong on either end of us, like one of our systems, whatever it is.
Yep.
I've noticed recently that sometimes I'm using an external 4K HP webcam, which is actually, it's pretty nice. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't appear, so I have to unplug the cable, plug it in. And when I do that, the HP settings all reset. So it supports like 3 fields of view. I'm using the kind of the zoomed in one, the 78 degrees, I think it is. And so I have to go into the software and reset that every time. And then there are other times when Teams, for whatever reason, just doesn't, it just changes whatever the settings are, and it's aggravating. If I were to unplug the USB hub from the system, I would have to make changes in Teams and with that HP app that controls the webcam, right? So, okay. Yesterday morning, the day before, and then again today, when I should say, I'm sorry, I sat down. Because I wanted this podcast just to go smoothly, and as you can see, it's going great. I went to make sure everything was fine ahead of time. And the webcam was not coming up, so I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and ran the software because I knew I had to reset the field of view. And it came up with this dialogue, which I've seen Monday and Tuesday as well. Today, it's before the show. I'm going to do what it says. What it says is you have to uninstall the HP Presence software. You click a button below, and it says then you have to run this batch file as administrator. Okay. And then you have to reboot, and then you have to run the software again. We'll reinstall it. We'll prompt you to reinstall it, and then you'll be able to use the software. Okay. Click the button. A folder pops up with the batch file in it. The batch file runs, not as an administrator, just runs. Doesn't work because it's not administrator. But also it says you have to close Teams first because Teams is using the webcam. Here's the thing. This boggles my mind. Remember that normal people are going to use this thing. So step one, no one on earth is going to know how to run this batch file, something from the 1980s, as an administrator. Just full stop. That's just one thing. The other problem is if I close Teams, it doesn't close. Teams runs in the background. You actually have to kill it with Task Manager, right? Or I guess you could go to the system tray and probably right-click quit from there. You actually have to kill it. And that's another thing that normal people won't know how to do. So I went through this process, but the thing is, I'm never using this. This is the last time I ever use this camera. I'm never doing this again. Like this is stupid. And this is what our lives are like, right? This is what technology, that thing that was supposed to make everything easier and better, just all it does is add complexity and frustration, right? Our life, the thing we've chosen to do with our lives is inherently frustrating. And again, I'll just point out, it is astonishing that more of us aren't insane. And you could argue maybe I am insane. I don't know. Like, it's slowly making me insane.
Well, there's been something funky going on with this Stream Deck.
Of course there is.
And it's going to do it again, I bet. I can tell. I'm going to hit your camera and the lights are going to turn off. Yep. Oh, there we go. Hey.
Yeah. So you actually used the word before we started recording. You actually said the term gremlins, and that's fascinating to me because in World War II, that was the term that fighter pilots used to explain mysterious problems that would occur with the mechanics of the aircraft, probably with I don't know if they were technically electronics. I guess they were. That were, they would say they were gremlins because they couldn't explain it. And thanks to digitization and componentization and miniaturization, we have just a million times as many places where gremlins can pop up because now it's in software code. It's not even, although this is hardware related, actually both of our problems, but you have a combination of hardware and software interacting poorly, right? This thing I keep talking about, it's ones and zeros, Brad. It should be perfect.
Or at least consistent.
Consistent. I would give my left leg for consistency.
Like I can't.
You can't. I know you can't.
No, I can see it again. Like if I hit your camera, the lights are going to turn off and it's going to do something funky. Like what happens on the Stream Deck, which I bought another one of these because I'm insane, and for my upstairs because that's another rabbit hole for another day. but like the icons get tiny, and then I click it, and then just weird things will happen, and then it'll reset. Watch, like,
yep.
I don't know why did I do? I don't know. Whatever. Speaking of other insanity, Paul, from our good friends over at Reuters, which we quote all the time, never.
Yeah.
They wrote.
Yes.
It looks like a news post, but it's very clearly an editorial about how the next thing Microsoft is going to buy in 2023, and I laughed reading this whole post, is Netflix. Nope. Not. No.
So there's this notion of buying something exactly the wrong time, right? Like you might make the argument that maybe Twitter needed to change hands and needed change of some kind, but that Elon Musk probably double paid, by what it was worth, and then was forced to go through it. Yeah, I would say buying Netflix right now kind of falls into that category in a way. At a time when things are leveling off, maybe even declining, when there's going to be fewer new shows than ever on streaming, that we've actually crested that wave, because these things are expensive and it's hard to make money on streaming. Yeah, no, Microsoft should definitely do that. Hey, while you're at it, why don't you create a Windows Phone app for Netflix?
Maybe bring back Xbox Music.
Why not? That's the future, isn't it? Streaming.
Well, the hilarious thing about this whole post/editorial is the math that they included doesn't work. First off, they cited market cap as a reason why Microsoft could afford to spend, according to them, what they would justify Netflix at $190 billion. And Microsoft can afford that, Paul Thurrott, because its market cap is $1.8 trillion. As if you can just convert market cap into capital overnight without
you
sabotaging.
can if you convert it into Bitcoin first. You obviously don't understand finances. It's a basic principle. I don't know. Listen. Again,
one.
Wrong time. So look, I don't know how much cash Microsoft has. I don't think it's 190 billion.
I can tell you.
How much? Tell you.
107 billion.
107. Yeah. So it's not enough to buy it outright. So they would have to, get. And by the way, this is the best environment in which to get a loan. So obviously that makes tons of sense.
Paul, it just glosses over the fact that Microsoft has committed to Activision. How many billion?
69.
Yeah.
Sure. So I thought that it's funny. I thought the headline you were going to talk about, because I think this was Reuters as well, is it says group of gamers sues Microsoft to block that $69 billion.
Oh yeah,
act.
I saw that one too.
So the group of gamers, group is 10 people, just some guys who play games.
Just guys doing guy stuff.
Looked into it and decided to spend the money on lawyers to launch a lawsuit. 10 people. God, this industry is the best. What a gift every day it is, to wake up and have hardware not work and see what's going on in the news. It's fun.